Hello.
Hey, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome to this episode of The Hunt for Harmony. I am James Hunt,
And I am Jaqua.
and we are not ministers, counselors, therapists, pastors. We are marriage coaches.
You said therapists, counselors.
I may have said therapist, I can't remember.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go on.
But
We are
we're married coaches and 27 years of marriage. And
marriage coaches.
yeah, and we just want to share, our views and our experiences with you in hopes that it will help you to create
Create the marriage you want. See, I knew you were going to do that.
You knew I was going to do it.
I could tell that it was like the perfect time to say it.
Good. Well, so we want to welcome everybody. New viewers, we
Welcome.
thank you for tuning in. To our regular viewers, we really appreciate you. And want everybody to take a second to subscribe and like. Thank you so much. Now, just to recap last week, we talked about, what was it?
Acting like where
Acting
you're
like
going.
where you're going.
Instead of where you are. Basically, don't get stuck in a rut in your marriage.
Right.
Because if you look around in your situation and you spend too much time looking there and you begin to feel blah because your marriage is blah and you're treating your spouse like blah, then you are preventing yourself from growing. So don't act like where you are. Act like where you're going.
Yeah, don't accept where you are.
Right.
Always want more for your marriage.
And so with your eyes up and you're looking forward and you're looking toward a goal, then you're going to keep moving toward that. Hopefully, that would be ideal.
So tune in and watch the video from
Yes,
last
and
week.
I'll drop a link
All right. So tonight, though,
or actually drop a link.
we're going to talk about your history.
History.
And you say, well, what the heck we need to know about history for? Because your history, your spouse's history, it plays a big role in how your marriage goes and how you respond and relate to one another.
Your history has formed you. And whether you acknowledge it or not, even if you liked it or not, then it has impacted and it informs who you are, how you deal with things, how you address issues, so forth and so on. So it's important to know that for yourself so that you can explain your behavior, but it's also important for you to know that about your spouse so that you can understand your spouse's behavior.
Right.
Okay. So it informs your personality, the type of person that you are, whether you're an introvert, extrovert, you like to, spend quiet evenings at home, or you like to be out and about, that kind of thing. Also, your temperament, your approach to life, how you address pitfalls in life, commitment, dedication, things like that. All of that is impacted by the group of people with whom you lived when you grew up.
Right.
Usually that's, your parents and maybe your siblings, but it could also be grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, because those are the people you spent time with, coaches even.
So if you have a spouse who really doesn't show any emotion when you're excited about things or when you're hurt, and they just don't act like they're interested, that's probably because that's how they learn to deal with things, through somebody that they watched, growing up.
And then I will say this, huge impact is how you saw your parents interact with one another. And if you didn't have both parents present, how you saw your parent who was with you, how they were because that other person was not there. They didn't have a spouse, or your father or mother was not there. So again, whether it was direct or passive, you learned how to address men, how to adjust to things because of that, because that's where you were.
Exactly. So if you find your spouse being a selfish person, that's part of how I used to be. And I'm opposite pole now, but
Yes. Tis true, tis true.
but I had to learn to be different because it wasn't good that I was selfish. But I had my things growing up, and didn't really have to share. When my folks bought something for us, they bought one for him, one for him, one for him. So we didn't have to share a whole bunch of things. But
And we
her,
were
on the
just
other
the
hand,
opposite.
it was just the opposite.
Just the opposite. We had community property. Anything that came in was everybody's. And I don't even think we had a problem with that. It was just our way. There were 6 of us, and so whatever it was divided 6 ways.
Yeah. But that posed a problem in our marriage because I was always about me, my, and she was so unlike that. So we were bumping heads all the time.
Right.
And that was part of why our young marriage was really rough.
Yeah. It was. It was pretty rough. Pretty rough. Another type of history that you need to know is that person's romantic history. So if you are involved with someone currently, or even if you're married to someone, you might not want to know now, but at any rate,
Too late. No.
too late. But you need to know about their romantic relationships prior to your romantic relationship. I mean, how long was their longest relationship? Was it 2 months, 6 months? Is that a long time? 2 years? Was it 8 years? And if it was 8 years, why were you still just dating for 8 years?
And why was there a breakup or a divorce if you were married? Why? You need to know those things because that behavior can be carried over into your marriage.
Right, right. And then too, if there were children, how is that person with their children? Do you even know their children? Do you spend time with their children? Because if you don't, they don't.
Right.
So those are things that are important to know beforehand.
Yeah, beforehand. The other thing is mental health history. We dealt with that with me, and it was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was bad. Wasn't too pretty, but it was bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was bad. Yeah, it was
I
bad.
suffered from depression because of things that were going on. I really didn't know how to deal with it. My mom battled with depression because of her rheumatoid arthritis. She was always in pain, and she really wasn't a very sociable person at all.
And I'll add too that she was very young when
was
this
young when it
this was
happened.
happening.
Yeah.
Very young when this was happening. And so you never know how a person is dealing with something. And we've known each other since we were teenagers, and I would visit and I didn't know what was going on. I didn't put a name or anything to it. But then later in our marriage, when I started to see that same behavior, then I was like, that's the same thing. He's doing what his mother used to do. So things like that are important to know. And I don't even think it was a known, like, oh, she's probably dealing with depression. Because like I
Right.
said, she was young and we were young. So it wasn't like, oh man, can you imagine how defeated a person would feel at that age to be limited physically when you expect that, oh, okay, I should be able to do whatever I
Right.
want to do.
Right.
So those things are important. They're
Yeah.
important.
I mean, it was bad with me because we would have company, and I wouldn't even come out of the room.
Rude,
Yeah.
but true. And to anyone who deals with depression, I'm being funny. I maybe I shouldn't have said rude, but to me, that was just rude because in my house, if someone came over, even if you weren't there to stick around or if it wasn't your company, you always came out and said hello. So for him not to do that or for him to do the opposite, to me, I perceived it as rude. But then later I learned it wasn't rude because I know depression can be debilitating.
And it was so bad though to where I was physically sick
Yeah.
and always just having to get tests done because nobody could figure out what's going on with
And
me.
going to the hospital.
Yeah, going to the hospital and getting CAT scans and just all. And they said there's nothing wrong.
So it's tough. And so those are the types of things that you need to know. Now, again, preferably beforehand, because you don't want to be blindsided after the fact. But if you're already in there, at least now you can start to dissect some of those things. Ask questions. Spend some time figuring out why this person does this, why this person does that. If you have a miserly spouse, probably because that's the way they grew up. If you have someone who wants to hold on to items, things.
Hoarder.
Because I know I would be a pack rat. I know I would be a hoarder if I wasn't married to him. Because that's what the women in my family do. I say women, but I say people.
Yeah.
That's what the people in my family do. We hoard.
And it would really, really drive me crazy.
Right.
You know, stuff everywhere. So it's things like that you don't really think about, but you definitely should think about it. One of the biggest reasons you should think about it is because, you know, it gives you an idea of why the behavior is what it is. And it will, that way you can show a little bit of compassion. You know, when you see that behavior, you won't just fly off the handle and want a divorce and all this other stuff. So,
Right.
you know, learn your spouse's history. Talk to one another. Talk to one another.
Yeah, because you would be surprised how many spouses do not know simple. Well, I say simple. I try not to be so judgmental when I'm saying stuff, and I don't mean it to be judgmental, but really to me, simple things that you would think that a person would know about the person to whom they're married, but you'd be surprised how many things people don't know. And people will share things with us, and then we'll ask the spouse, "Did you know that?" And they'll say, "No,
Had no idea.
had no idea." So it really goes a long way in helping to explain some of your ticks, you know, why you do things you do.
And believe it or not, it's going to make you closer. It
Yeah.
will make you closer.
Yeah.
You might think your spouse will be like, oh my God, I didn't know that.
And they might.
And they might. They very well might. But,
They might.
But, you know, in the grand scheme of things, they will understand.
Right.
And there will be compassion.
Right.
there
And
will-
understanding.
and understanding and closeness. You know, it's going to help you to be closer. And I will say, some of you might be Christians, some of you may not be, but I could only get through this with the help of the Lord. That is the only way I got through it, because who knows what I would have ended up doing.
We would have been divorced.
Yeah, we would have been. We would have been.
Easy. I can
like-
answer that.
Then my kids would have grown up in a single family home, and no, I don't want that. No, I didn't want that. But that's one of the reasons why. That's the last thing I'll say about this is that, you know, understanding divorce, because my parents were married 47 years before my dad passed away. And to me, that's how marriages should go. You should stay together. I've seen them argue and, you know, everything, but I never heard the word divorce. You know, I never seen my dad walk out and leave or my mom walk out and leave. So to me, we're supposed to stay together.
And it's odd because my parents split when I was 7. Well, actually, just before I turned 7. But still, for some reason, in my mind, marriage was forever.
I think it's because you didn't want that, you know.
Maybe
know, you want it
it
different.
could be. I don't know. It could be my favorite aunt was married, and they were married until my uncle, her husband, died, and then my grandparents.
Yeah.
They were married until my grandfather died.
So like we said, you were around people who
Right.
had that type of influence on you. So
Right.
you guys have had those same type of influences. So look at your histories. All right?
And then when you do, extend some grace, begin to understand why they do what they do, and hopefully they'll extend that same grace to you.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, that's all I have.
And I have no more.
And we want to thank everybody again
Thank you.
Please subscribe
Thank
and
you,
like and share.
And please comment down below. Anything that you would like.
We look forward to the comments.
Yes, look forward to the comments. Anything that you would like to share. We get a lot of private comments, which is fine. Send it to us privately. You don't have to divulge everything in the comments, but if you do comment, we're definitely there to respond and reply. If you want to hear us speak on certain topics, if you just want to share where you are in your marriage, we'd love to hear all about it.
And if you just want some coaching and making your marriage better, please visit our website.
www.thehotandforharmony.com.
Yeah, she's not Vanna White or anybody.
That was way too soulful for Vanna. And Vanna doesn't even talk.
Oh, I guess Vanna doesn't talk.
No, she does not.
But visit our website. We do free consultations, and we'll get a chance to meet you, and you can see if we're somebody you want to help coach you through some rough spots, or not even rough, but just want to do better.
Right.
On some little things you want to improve. We're here. So let us know. All right?
That's it.
We'll see you next week here, 7:30, The Hunt for Harmony. Everybody have a great week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.